who have donated our brand new xylophone. And happy Hannity. This is how we thrive, by donations. Thank you for your donations. If you're not on our email list, please sign up at the table where you came in, or on our website. Comments and suggestions can be shared with us as well. Please kindly silence your cell phones so we can all enjoy the concert. And now, our music director, Samantha Fergus.
first piece that you just heard is kind of the theme, the titular piece of today's program. It is called Fanfare for the Uncommon Woman by Joan Tower. Now these pieces, there's actually 6 fanfares for the uncommon women. There's a lot of cool women out there, so she wrote 6 of them. These pieces were written in response to Aaron Copeland's very well-known piece for brass and percussion called Fanfare for the Common Man. Some of these fanfares that Joan Tower wrote are also just for brass and percussion, but this is the one that is the only one for full orchestra. Each of her fanfares was dedicated to a different woman in classical music. So this one is dedicated to Joanne Folletta, who is one of the first women conductors in the United States who really had a very well-established, well-known career. So that is her piece there. We are going to the next part of our program, the world premiere on today's program, which is called The 10-Woman Bicycle. This is a very fun piece for many reasons. We're working with our lovely composer in residence, June. The orchestra loves working with her, loves playing her music. Her music is always wonderful and fun and charming. I myself really love to ride bicycles, so it's just like a fun little nod to that. I want to also welcome Trisha, who wrote the book that 10-Woman Bicycle is accompanying. She came all the way from New York to be here with us today, so welcome, Trisha. Our percussion section just this set, who also hosted Trisha at her home during her stay here. So thank you, Nancy. The next person I'm going to introduce is June Vonasich, the author, the composer of the 10-Woman Bicycle, who's going to come up and just talk a little bit about the piece for you. Also, June, please come on up. Welcome.
5 years ago, I got this urge to write a piece for orchestra and narrator, and I wanted to find a fairy tale that I'd like to do that with, but I was having a really hard time. So I started looking through my grandson's bookshelf, and I found this book called Stories for Free Children. I had read stories to my own son back in the 80s, and I was flipping through it, and I found this story, The 10-Woman Bicycle. And I thought, oh, this is a nice story. I don't have to change the ending. I don't have to change, make it. And then I thought, okay, who is this author? And I should contact her. And is she even alive? Or who is this person? And so I looked up her name and found her online and sent her an email. And she responded. And she was very much alive, and said that she would love for me to orchestrate it, and then she even said, "You made my day." So that made me really happy. So I started working on it, and she sent me a copy of her book that had been published in England, and it had more. The story was longer because they had shortened it for this anthology. So I had more material to work with, so my piece expanded. Now, one of the things that you're going to hear, my grandson, who couldn't be here today, he actually composed a little snippet of this when he was 5. And he said, Grandma, listen to this. And he played this little thing on the piano, and he kept doing it over and over, and I incorporated it into this piece. So I would like the bassoon player to play that little snippet. Almost. One more time. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, when you hear that, that's from my grandson. He couldn't be here today. Okay. Thank you.
Last season follower of CWO, you will remember Kate, our wonderful narrator who came last season and did the Frog Prince, who we have invited back to be the narrator for today's story. So please welcome Kate Offord.
away from the village of St. Vincent. As soon as the water began turning the water wheel, which set into motion all the machines needed to make the bicycle work, the manager began hiring villagers, or at least the men from the village, to operate the machines. The men were soon working as handlebar benders, wheel spinners, eyelet punchers, peddlers, polishers, and tubers. When several women tried to get jobs, the manager laughed and said, "Women can't ride bicycles, so how do you expect to work in a bicycle parts factory?" And so the women went home to cook and clean and sew and watch their husbands and sons climb on shiny bicycles and ride to work in the morning. By the time the Horizon Bicycle Parts Factory was 1 year old, the manager was worrying about the great demand for bicycle parts and the shortage of workers to make the parts. Whenever he sat down to think of a solution, he reluctantly came up with the same thought. Perhaps I could hire a few women from the village and train them to make from the village of St. Vincent were finally hired to work in the Horizon Bicycle Parts Factory. The 10 women did the same work as the men and did it well. But just because women now worked in a bicycle parts factory, it occurred to no one that they might try riding bicycles to work as the men did. The women had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They had to make breakfast for their families, wash the dishes, and leave at 6 o'clock for their 2-hour walk to the factory. It was 7¼ miles to the Horizon Bicycle Parts Factory. Even when they walked along the most direct route, it still took at least 2 hours. The women would work all day. And then there was the 2-hour walk back home. And when they returned to their homes, they had to cook, clean, and sew. And when they finally went to bed, they were quite exhausted. It was not long before the first woman began feeling sleepy while turning the crucial curve in a cow horn handlebar. Then the second woman was overcome with drowsiness in the middle of fitting a tire with an inner tube. Soon, the third and fourth women nodded over their respective bicycle wheels while punching eyelets in the hubs. Pear-shaped plates destined to be seats slipped from the fifth woman's hands. And oblong blocks of rubber, someday to become pedals, fell from the sixth woman's hands. One by one, the 10 women rested their heads on the work table among unriveted rivets, sprung springs, and horsehair stuffed into seats. Saw that the 10 women had fallen asleep over their work in the late afternoon, he reported it to the manager, who said, "Wake up the women and tell them to come to my office." The 10 women filed into the manager's office on the first floor of Horizon Bicycle Parts Factory. "Why don't you take a few days off and get some rest?" The manager suggested to the women's horror. The women thought the manager had found a convenient excuse to fire them now that the days of the great demand for bicycle parts and the shortage of workers to make parts was over. "It's only because we have to leave our home so early to get to work. If we could ride bicycles like the men, we wouldn't be tired," the first woman explained. The manager couldn't have looked more surprised. "In all of this land, a woman has never ridden a bicycle," he exclaimed. "But if we make bicycle parts, surely we can learn to ride," the second woman said. "Well, perhaps," the manager replied. And he added that, more importantly, no one had ever seen a woman on a bicycle, and it would be embarrassing for them. The third woman said, "I won't mind the embarrassment. If only I could catch up on my sleep and keep my job, too." One-third the time to walk to the factory, the fourth woman calculated. The manager was soon drawing up sales slips for 10 bicycles. "No, wait a minute," one of the women explained. "I have my doubts about these bicycles. Won't our skirts get tangled in the spokes?" Women were required to wear long skirts way back when. It was not very practical. One woman was worried that she wouldn't be able to get on and off a bicycle gracefully. "No trouble at all," the manager assured her, smiling as he imagined a glimpse of the woman's legs as she struggled to get on a bicycle. "No, wait a minute," the sixth woman warned. "In these dresses, getting one leg across the front tube will be like trying to jump a high hurdle. We need a bicycle built for women," they all shouted. They got out their drawing boards and started brainstorming. "Let's drop that horizontal the steering post to the pedal bracket, then mounting and dismounting will be easy enough, and dress guards to fit over the front and rear wheels, then we can ride safely, even in these blasted long skirts. Was of another opinion. On a recent visit to the central headquarters of Horizon Bicycle Factories, he saw a bicycle that was designed for society ladies. Women could sit side saddle and pedal with one foot. No, the manager replied, and he went on to explain that the handlebars were shortened on one side and lengthened on the other, while the track of the rear wheel was set slightly to the right of the front wheel to make up for any imbalance. The new bicycle for society ladies sounded really slow and unwieldy. Work at the same time as the men, and make bicycle parts at the same rate of production as the men, they didn't want a bicycle that would put them at a disadvantage. And so they insisted, we won't ride a man's idea of a women's bicycle. The third woman angrily remarked, if we had bicycles of our own design, we could ride as well as any man. The manager accepted the women's challenge, thinking it might at least prove entertaining to watch the women try to ride bicycles. 2 weeks later, 10 bicycles arrived that had been assembled from bicycle parts of the women's design and manufacture. The women met to practice riding around the quiet factory. The women displayed a definite knack for riding bicycles. Their sense of balance was perfect, and their steering left nothing to be desired. Rode their new bicycles back to St. Vincent that Sunday evening, everyone that stopped and stared in astonishment. 7